Welcome to Fresh Start with Jason Cline.
Welcome to Fresh Start with Jason Cline, the podcast where New Mexico residents find real solutions to overwhelming debt. Jason Cline is an experienced bankruptcy attorney based in Albuquerque who's helped individuals and families across the state get the relief they need through Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 bankruptcy. I'm Evan Mack, and today Jason will be answering a question many people have. What exactly is the bankruptcy means test, and who qualifies for Chapter 7? This is the bankruptcy means test. Who qualifies for Chapter 7 in New Mexico? Jason, welcome.
Hi, Evan. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Jason, since this is our very, very first episode, can you share a little bit about your background, how you got started in bankruptcy law, and kind of what drew you in through the financial hardship?
Well, yes. So I started this, actually started working in bankruptcy a bit over 20 years ago. I took a job with a bankruptcy attorney, really to just get by. I had no interest in it. But as I met with people and really started to learn it, I kind of grew to love helping people in it. So I ended up going to law school myself, and now here I am with my own business and helping people outside of that.
Was it hard? Was it daunting to try to create your own business? Kind of be kind of scary to kind of start from scratch and build. How was that a difficult process?
It wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. It was daunting to leave the paycheck and kind of just hang my own sign up. But really, I've enjoyed it ever since. So I don't know that I'd ever really want to go back to employment again. So.
You've been helping clients with bankruptcy cases for more than 20 years. Could you start by explaining what the means test actually is for listeners who may be unfamiliar with that?
So they changed the bankruptcy laws back in 2005, and they added this thing called the means test. The means test takes a look at your previous 6 months worth of income, creates a monthly average, multiplies that out by 12, and then determines if you're above or below the yearly median income level for the area that you live in.
Wow.
If you're above it, then you have to move forward and go into a second portion of the test where you take out expenses. And these expenses are living expenses based on both your actuals and your IRS standards. And if you can bring that down to less than $100, then you can still qualify into a Chapter 7 case. If it's above $100, or if it pays more than 25% of your of your unsecured debt, then you have to do a Chapter 13.
Why did Congress create this means test in the first place? What was the problem it was meant to solve?
Well, I think the problem that it was meant to solve is people that have fluctuating income levels. They're seasonal workers, so they make a large amount of money at one point in the year and a smaller amount of money at a different point in the year. Previously, on the side of it being helpful to people, there are the summer workers, the landscapers and stuff that make a lot of their money during the summer, but then they don't make a lot of money in the winter years or winter months. And then if we tried to file a bankruptcy for them during the summer when they're making all their money, they may not qualify for a Chapter 7 because they have too much income. By averaging out 6 months, we may lower that. Now, on the flip side of it, it could artificially raise your income too when you choose the wrong part of the year to file in still. It's kind of a crystal ball approach to determine what your next 5 years are going to be. In my opinion, it really doesn't work, but we are stuck with it.
So when you start working with someone with considering Chapter 7, what information do you look at to determine whether they qualify under that means test?
Well, the first thing that I will do in my initial consultation is I will ask about your income, and I will perform a calculation roughly myself to see if you're above or below the median income level based on the number of people in your household. If below, then we can just move forward and talk about Chapter 7. If you're above, then I have to go into more questions on certain expenses and such and how many dependents there are, and see if we can still qualify into that Chapter 7.
Many people worry they'll automatically be disqualified if they earn too much money. What do you tell clients who fall close to those income limits?
If they're close to the income limits, I'm going to actually need real pay stubs to look at,
Wow.
so that I can perform the actual test rather than the rough numbers. So I'll have them email me over all their pay stubs, and I will run the test for them. If it's a little bit over, then we may be able to fix it with the expense portion of the test. If it's a lot over, I mean, there's chances if there's other large expenses, if you have a
Right.
large child support expense or something, you might still qualify into the Chapter 7. However, it's not the end of the world to be in a Chapter 13 either.
What are some common misunderstandings you hear about who can or can't pass the means test in New Mexico specifically?
I mean, the biggest one is that if your income's above the median income level, that you definitely don't qualify for a Chapter 7 case. People will call me all the time and say that, well, my income's too high, I can't qualify. And after talking to them, I can get them to fit right into it. So uh, that's the biggest misconception. Oftentimes, too, people think that if they're married, if they file by themselves, they don't have to include their spouse's income, and that is incorrect. You have to have your entire household's income.
How important is that to educate these people on the certain things they can do, and why do you feel people kind of come in there with their own thought processes? Where do you think they learn this information from?
Well, people have often Googled this already. So uh, many people already think that they know exactly what's going on. And you find a lot of the myths and the uh, horror stories online. So
Yeah.
uh, a lot of times people come in here already believing that they're going to be stuck having to do a certain chapter, that they're not going to be able to afford to do it if they get pushed into a Chapter 13, or that there's no way they can do this, but they decided they were going to call somebody. So having them come in, talk to me, there's a lot more you can learn by actually talking to a bankruptcy attorney than you can find on Google.
If someone doesn't qualify for a Chapter 7, what are their options? How does Chapter 13 sometimes end up being that better fit?
All right, so if you don't qualify for the Chapter 7, it's because after you take the expenses out on the means test, you've been left over with disposable income in the month. So a positive amount of money when you're only talking about your living expenses, it's not your debt. And whatever that positive number is, that's the monthly payment that you have to make to your unsecured creditors for a period of 5 years.
Hmm.
So technically, what the test is supposed to do is determine what you can afford to pay these creditors over 5 years. After the 5 years are over, the remainder of their debts are discharged just like in a Chapter 7 case. So
Hmm.
you really should be able to afford it if you get pushed into it.
Well, why is it important for people to get clarity early about whether or not they qualify?
It's definitely one of those first decisions, because you've really got to know which direction you're going. Chapter
Yeah.
7 is much less complicated than Chapter 13. And so that mental preparation to know that you're getting yourself into a 5 year payment plan, or if this thing's going to be over in less than 4 months. Um, so you really do need to know up front, so there's no surprises there at filing.
And to wrap things up, Jason, for listeners who feel embarrassed or maybe afraid to ask for help, what would you say to encourage them to take that first step towards that financial fresh start?
That fresh start right there is exactly the words that Congress has used about bankruptcy. It is a fresh start for honest but unfortunate people. This is something that is in our laws. It is a right that we have to file for bankruptcy in order to be able to start over. That stress that's just weighing on your shoulders of that debt every day, all the collection phone calls, the thoughts of your car, your house being repossessed or foreclosed, uh, filing that bankruptcy can nearly immediately take care of that. And being afraid to talk to someone, when you're speaking with an attorney, it's completely confidential. Nobody can ever know that you ever even talked. So, uh, really, it should put your mind at ease and take that weight off your shoulders.
Hmm. Awesome stuff. Jason, appreciate the time.
Oh, thank you very much.
Awesome. And thank you all for joining us on Fresh Start with Jason Cline. If you're in New Mexico and wondering whether you qualify for Chapter 7 or just need straightforward answers about your debt options, visit attorneyjasoncline.com to schedule a consultation. You don't have to face financial hardship alone. There's always a way forward. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone that might find this information helpful as well. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.